Gluten-free hot cross buns. Welcome to Believe It's Not Gluten, the home of amazing recipes for the gluten intolerant. Amazing because they taste so good, no one will know they're gluten-free. These buns are so good for Easter and really do taste a bit like non-gluten-free hot cross buns. The texture's a little different, but they're soft and they have the same flavour. They also just happen to be grain-free, and your gluten-free people are bound to love them. So start by putting just under 1 cup of warm milk into a bowl, actually 1 cup minus 1 tablespoon, and adding 3 tablespoons of honey. If it's cold weather, you may need to warm the honey as well, or it will cool down the temperature of the milk too much. And the milk needs to be just warm, just a little bit warmer than body heat, so the only way really to test it is with your finger. Should feel a bit warm only, nowhere near hot. And once you've got that right, add 3 teaspoons of active dry yeast, mix it in a little, let that stand for about 10 minutes. Then when you come back, if the yeast is good and your milk was warm, it will all bubble up like this. You can see here the yeast is all frothy, that's what you want. Then you add 2 eggs and 1 cup of sultanas, give that a bit of a mix. And then in with the dry ingredient mix. And some melted butter. Make sure the butter is not too hot or it will kill the yeast. It needs to only be warm too. I usually pour it over the flour, so if it is a tiny bit warmer than the temperature of the milk, it will sort itself out as it mixes with the flour before it touches the yeast. Then you want to mix as fast as you can before it gets too thick to be able to stir with a spoon. If you have a stand mixer, you can just tip everything in together and mix it with the beater attachment until it gets smooth, and your buns will look smoother then too when they're cooked. But if you don't, you just need to mix it as quickly as you can to get it as smooth as you can before it gets too stiff. So once you can't mix it anymore, it's ready to tip out. You need about a dessertspoon of coconut oil. Take a little bit first to grease your square cake tin. And then put a good layer of the coconut oil on the bench to stop the dough sticking to the bench. Then you can tip the dough out onto the oiled bench. As you can see, this is much stickier and harder to work with than a regular bread dough. It's annoying, but that's how it has to be. If you try to make it thicker dough, the buns won't rise well. So you do have to work with it while it's sticky like this. So once you're ready to do it, so you need to oil your hands as well as the bench, and then you can handle it much more easily. Just form it into a big sausage sort of shape and divide it into 3 pieces, and then divide each piece into 3 more pieces, so you have 9 rolls to fit nicely into the square cake tin. If you end up with some bits a bit small, you just take some dough off the bigger pieces to add to the smaller ones as you go along. So then get some more oil on your hands and just take each piece of dough and form it into a ball and put it into the tin. Just keep getting more oil and as you need, and just keep going until you've done all the dough. Don't worry too much trying to get them too smooth. They don't actually get very smooth. If you've done it in a beater, they may, but doing it this way, they don't. At the end, we'll try and smooth them out a little bit more. And then as they cook, they end up getting a bit of a rough top as well. So don't worry about that. Just do your best to get them into balls at this stage. If you do have a smaller bun, pop that as the middle one rather than an edge one. Then get some more oil and just try and smooth out the tops as much as you can. Cover them with plastic wrap or a plastic bag and leave them for about 45 minutes in a warm place to rise. There are hints for getting them to rise well on the blog. You check them after about 30 or 40 minutes, and if they're nearly there, nearly double in size, then turn on your oven to preheat and start getting the crosses ready. So to make the crosses, you need about 2 tablespoons of gluten-free flour. Any kind of flour will do. 1 teaspoon of sugar and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And then about 1½ tablespoons of cold water. So mix that well. If it does end up very thick like this, you need to add some more water. You just want to get it thin enough so that it will fall off the spoon and you'll be able to pipe it onto the crosses. This is not an exact science here. You don't have to be too pedantic about all your measurements here. You just work it till you get it to the right consistency. Then pop it into a small plastic bag. Squeeze out the air and snip off a tiny corner of the bag. And then you can pipe the crosses onto the buns. Here are the buns after they've risen, and they're pretty much double in size. They've come well up to the top of the tin. I've really cut the hole a bit big here, and the crosses are a bit thick. I wouldn't normally do them like this, partly because the crosses aren't so good to eat. You don't want to eat too many of them. Also because they don't look as good when they're thick like this. And once they're done, they'll go into a hot oven for about 30 minutes. When they come out, you need to test they're cooked, especially the middle bun. It will be the last one to cook. So you can knock on the buns and see if they sound hollow. So I think it's a bit easier to dig around a little with a skewer and make sure that the middle one is cooked. Then you want to tip them out of the tin straight away, turn them over and let them cool. You can leave them as they are, or if you like, while they're still warm, you can glaze the tops to make them look shiny. The glaze is just 2 teaspoons of sugar with 1 teaspoon of water. Mix it and bring it to boil in the microwave to be sure the sugar has dissolved, and brush it on. Then once they're almost cool, you can cut them and eat them. Here they are, delicious and soft with a nice flavour. The best gluten-free hot cross buns I've ever had. I hope you enjoy them. Please visit the blog for the recipe and tips to make them work for you. If you like this, please subscribe to our channel below and give us a thumbs up. And please share our videos as much as you can. Thank you for watching, and believe it, it's not gluten.